Hello and welcome. In this video I'll be showing you how to make this faded rose arch folio. The printable for the project is available in my Etsy shop, so if you'd like to follow along I'll leave the link to the shop and to the specific printable in the video description. The project will turn out like this and can be left as is or further decorated. It can even be put into a larger junk journal if you'd like. So without further ado, let's begin. These are the supplies I used for the project. There will be a list in the description if you'd prefer to see it that way, and also some possible alternatives if you don't have some of these items handy. Once you've downloaded the printable, go ahead and cut everything out. You'll see on the bottom of each page there's instructions on whether or not to print it on regular printer paper or on cardstock. If you can't print it on cardstock, don't worry, just print it on regular printer paper, it'll work just as good. Once you have everything printed, you can either cut everything out right now, or you can cut things out as you go along with the tutorial, which might help with not losing any of the little pieces since there's quite a few of them. We are going to start off with the main folio, which consists of these pieces, and we're going to make some creases in them. Here we're going to want to make 3 creases, one along this line right here, another one along this line, and the last along this line right here. Like so. On this piece we want to make 2 creases, one along this line and another along that line. Should end up looking like this, where there's one crease here and another one there. We're going to make 2 creases again, one along this line and another along that line, so that it looks like this. Last 2 pieces, make a crease right here and right here, like so. Now we're going to want to take these 2 pieces, flip this one over, and we are going to glue this section here to this section right here. It's going to turn out like this. I recommend protecting your work surface with a piece of paper, and I'm just going to be using regular school glue and a paintbrush to apply the glue. So let's flip this piece over. Once we have our thin layer of glue, it should look like this. Next, let's take this piece, and we are going to glue this section and this section back to back, like so. Now take this piece and we're going to glue it right here. And let's make sure that we got the glue on this little tab too. Lastly, let's take this piece and we're going to glue it to the back of this one, like so. And as far as these little tabs here go, we can just take some glue, fold them one over the other. Like so. Once it's dry, you can go ahead and recrease some of these folds, and it should look something like this. So, because I didn't glue it perfectly, there's still some white edges sticking out here and there. If you have that too, you can fix it by either trimming it off a little bit, or you can take some distress ink and a makeup wedge, a tissue or paper towel might also work, and you can distress the edges, which will also give it a more vintage look. Your folio is most likely going to be a bit warped from all the glue that you've used, so once it's fully dry, go ahead and lay it under some heavy books to kind of press it flat. But make sure you only do this when it's dry, otherwise the pages might stick together. While the main folio is being pressed, we're going to make the butterfly booklet. Start by folding all the interior pages in half. Once you have them folded, we're going to use the school glue and paintbrush once more to assemble this booklet. So we're going to glue the half pages together. So you're going to want to put glue on this half page, glue it to that one, and do the same with the next. Put glue on this half page, glue it to that half page. Same thing for this one, glue here, attach it to that one, but leave the outside pages unglued. It should turn out like this. To get rid of any white edges, go ahead and either distress the edges or trim it off. Go ahead and also distress the edges of these two pieces. Fold this piece in half. You can distress the middle if you'd like. Now we are going to glue this little inner booklet inside. So we're going to put glue on the two blank sides on the outside and then glue them right into the middle here of this outside piece. Next, we are going to want to glue this cover right on top. So that it turns out like this. Now let's take our cutouts that look like hinges and a latch. We can distress their edges. And glue them onto the cover. Your booklet should have turned out like this. And once it's fully dry, go ahead and put it under some heavy books to flatten it out. Next up is the notepad. First step is to fold all the longer papers along this center line. On each paper there is a blank side and a lined side, and we're going to glue the papers back to back so that each blank side has a lined side on it until the booklet comes together. Your booklet should turn out like this, with one blank unprinted side. Distress the edges if you'd like, and once it's fully dry, lay it under some heavy books to flatten. Now we're going to make the envelope out of these pieces. Fold over each tab on this paper, and distress the top edge. Flip it over, to flip this piece of paper over as well and put it right in the middle. And then use some tacky glue to attach the tabs to the back of the other paper. Distress the edges, and now you have a little pocket. For the top of the envelope, glue these two pieces back to back. Fold over this tab, distress the edges, and use tacky glue to glue it to the top of the pocket. Take the last piece, distress the edges, put a bit of tacky glue on these three sides, and lightly press to attach it to the bottom of the envelope. Now you have a little envelope with a front pocket. You can set that aside to dry. Now we can work on some of the smaller inserts. So take your two pieces of paper that look like columns and glue them back to back. Use a hole punch to punch out the circle. Distress the edges. You can further decorate it by taking a small piece of ribbon, folding it in half, then putting the ends through the hole, and then putting them through the loop. If you'd like, you can add a small dot of tacky glue right here to secure it. And set it aside. Next, cut this paper out and fold it in half along this line. Use school glue right here to glue them together. Now use scissors to cut all these jagged edges. Distress the edges and set it aside. Cut out these two decorations, and you can glue the back piece to them as well, but that's optional. Dress the edges and set them aside. Now take these pieces and fold each of them in half along the center line. Now unfold them and glue them back to back. Distress the edges, Fold it back in half and set it aside. Once these are fully dry, if any of them are warped, go ahead and put them under some heavy books to flatten. Now grab your main folio and these two cutouts. We are going to glue the pockets in. Distress their edges. Now open up your folio and we're going to glue this smaller pocket right into this corner. So we're going to take some tacky glue and put it on these two edges right here. Go ahead and place it right there and press down a little bit, but not too much because you don't want to squish the glue out too much. Now let's glue this one in, and it's going to go right here. So take your tacky glue again and put the glue on these edges. Glue it right inside. Now we can set that off to dry. In the meantime, let's work on these tags. First step is to glue each of these back to back using school glue and a paintbrush. Should turn out like this. I also distressed the edges very lightly so that they wouldn't be white. Now we want to take 2 pieces of clear packing tape and carefully sandwich the butterfly in between. Like so. Do the same with the rose. Now take this tag and distress these inner edges here, like so, and now we want to fold it right down the middle, and then flip it over. Now we want to take our butterfly, place it where it's going to go in the window, and either take a pen or a Sharpie, and we're going to draw a border around where we're going to cut this tape. Once you have it drawn, go ahead and cut out the tape, like so. Now we're going to place the butterfly back into the window, centering it. Taking some really small pieces of packing tape, we're going to tape it right onto the tag. Should turn out like this, but you don't want any of those little pieces of tape to be visible from the outside. Now we're going to take some tacky glue because it has a stronger hold and spread it all over the rest of the tag on one side. Now fold it in half. Should turn out like this. And if there's any glue that got onto this tape, go ahead and wipe it off and set it off to dry. Let's do the same for this tag. Distress the inner edges, crease it along the center and flip it over. Take your rose, line it up, and use a pen or Sharpie to draw the border. Cut it out and center it in place. Also make sure that you don't get any tape where you're going to hole punch it, otherwise you won't be able to. Use small pieces of tape to secure it in place. Should look like this, with no little pieces of tape showing from the outside. Use tacky glue to glue the 2 halves of the tag together. so that it looks like this, and let it dry. Once both tags are dry, take a hole puncher and punch out the top hole on both tags. Distress the edges. Add ribbon by taking a piece and folding it in half, then looping it through the hole. Putting the two ribbons through the other loop and pulling. You can add a dot of tacky glue to secure it in place. Cut the edges to look nicer, and I also added a tiny bit of tacky glue to the ends so that they don't fray. Once these are both fully dry, you can put them under some heavy books to flatten them. Now we can start assembling everything together. So take your folio, unfold it, and we are going to be gluing this butterfly booklet right here. Put some school glue on the back and glue it right in place. Now take your notepad, add some school glue to the back, and glue it in place. Now take this piece, distress the edges, add some tacky glue to the back, and glue into place. I give it a slight curve here at the top, if you can see that. When gluing, make sure not to get any of the glue stuck to the edges so that the pages can still flip. Next, we're going to add in our envelope, but we're going to want to create a little pocket right here at the top. So make sure that when you're gluing, you only put glue on the side edges and on the bottom edge. I'm using tacky glue. Now we can press down firmly to glue it in place. Once it's fully dry, we can add in our column to the back pocket here that we've made, but make sure it's dry, otherwise the column will get stuck. You can add the little note into the envelope. Add your ephemera into these little pockets. Add this little arched booklet into this pocket. And add both of your tags into this small corner pocket. Now close up your folio. Grab the two little rose button doorknobs, distress the edges. Now take a piece of foam mounting tape. Cut the foam down so that it can fit on the inside of the flower. And you're going to want to cut two. On one of the sides, remove the paper to reveal the sticky backing. I'm also going to add tacky glue for extra support. And glue it onto a flower. Reveal the other sticky backing. Add tacky glue if you'd like. And glue your flower in place. For the next rose doorknob, we're also going to need a piece of ribbon or string. This ribbon is about 15 inches long, but I'm probably going to cut it down later. First, glue your rose on. Before we glue the last button doorknob to the door, we are going to want to glue the ribbon to the back. Now we can glue it on. And we want to let this fully dry. Once it's fully dry, we can now take the ribbon and wrap it around the roses, going underneath them. And now you can decide if you'd like to cut the length any shorter. If you'd like to add a charm to the end of your ribbon, you're going to need the charm and 2 jump rings. Using some tacky glue, put it on the end of the ribbon. Glue a jump ring inside. Hold it in place until it's dry. Then open up your second jump ring using some pliers. Loop your charm through it. And through the jump ring attached to the ribbon. And close the jump ring. And now your rose folio is complete. Here's one last flip through of the project. Thank you so much if you followed along, it really helps to support my Etsy shop. I hope the tutorial was easy to follow and that the project was enjoyable to do. If you'd like to follow me on social media for more junk journal ideas and projects, that information will be at the end of the video, and also in the description. Happy junk journaling and hope you have a lovely rest of your day.